Hi, Matt with etrailer, and today we'll be talking about the Malone CrossBed bed rack and our 2023 Ford F-150. Let's take a closer look at it. This is going to be a great addition to your bed because it's going to allow you to haul a lot of things, having a weight capacity of up to 500 pounds. So you're going to be able to haul anything from your ladders, kayaks, or even tents too. And it's also going to help you store a lot more things in your bed. Maybe you run out of room on the bottom. Now you're going to need to put T-track accessories up here, like baskets or boxes. And speaking of that T-track, we also have these load stops on here. So what those are going to help provide is, if you have anything that you're worried about rattling around side to side, you can just move this, close in on it, tighten it down, and prevent it from sliding around. Or you can tie anything off on it to help things from sliding back and forth. The way it's going to connect to your bed is it's going to use this clamp that grabs on to the towers using some teeth and wraps around to the bottom and holds down to the bottom of the rails. I'm going to get some measurements on how it's going to sit back here. So going from the top of our rails on the bed to the top of the crossbar, it is going to sit at about 6 inches, which isn't going to be too much, especially in your bed. You have plenty of room to play around with that. But the load stops on top of that will add an additional 5 inches, and I wouldn't worry about that either. As far as your overhang, is barely any. That's going to be just under 3 inches. So if you were planning on putting any accessories at the very end of here that are clamped on, they might not fit on there since you don't have much room to play around with. But the bright side of that is you don't have to worry about walking past this and bumping into it, or when you're driving on the road, you don't have to worry about it sticking out too far. Overall, I think that's going to be really helpful when you are hauling anything, whether that be just ladders or anything as big as tents too. I really like the install too because it was super quick and easy, but if you need a hand with it, just stay tuned and we'll show you how to do it. To start off our installation, we're just going to get inside our bed and get our crossbars up here. Once they're up here, make sure you grab one of your towers, and we're going to slide it on. The orientation when I slide it on is going to be this open side facing in on your crossbars. You want to make sure your crossbars are in the right orientation too. A good thing to note is you'll notice this hole on the side. If you see that hole, you know you're on the right track. Now you're just going to line up that block with that channel and slide it on. Once you slide it on, you can take your end cap and put it at the very end of your crossbars. Repeat that process on the other side. And with both towers on, we didn't tighten them all the way down. That's one because I want to flip them over and find out where they're going to sit. And how that's going to look is you're going to flip over your crossbar, and you know it's in the right orientation if this rounded portion is facing in front of us towards the front of the vehicle. And you're just going to slide this tower until it's flush with the side of the bed. And you're going to do the same thing for this other side. We want to make sure this is going to be completely squared up. So you can use the beginning of your bed to where your towers sit. And you want to make sure that's going to be the same distance on both sides. And while you're at it, you can check the overhang too, making sure that's going to be the same distance. And when everything's even, we're going to flip this back over carefully so nothing slides around. And with it flipped around, we're going to use our included Allen key to tighten this tower the rest of the way down. And with that tightened down, we can flip these over again and put it where it was. And I do recommend when you set this back down, re-measure that distance from the bed to your crossbars so you know you're still squared. We're going to take our load stops now and put them on that top channel just by lining up those two blocks underneath it. And then you can slide it all the way down to the other side and grab your other load stop and put it in the opposite direction. You might have to loosen it some, and then roughly place it where you'd like it. When you're putting on your end caps, is going to come with a nut and a bolt. I've already kind of pushed that nut in there. You can see how it sits. And if you have trouble putting it in there, just use your screwdriver to push it in the rest of the way. And once it's in there, we can put it on the top. Make sure you don't put it on backwards. And then you can put on your bolt, and it threads on from the bottom. We're going to put on our clamps, and this is what they're going to look like when they're put together. You're going to have the shorter of your two types of bolts. The longer ones you won't need, and these shorter ones are going to have two washers that go on top of it. It'll go through this L-shaped clamp, and then that'll connect to our U-shaped clamp. You want to make sure the teeth on either side are facing the same side. And then when we put it on top of our tower, those teeth are going to grab onto those grooves. Another thing to be sure you check is there's nothing obstructing underneath. And if there isn't, then you can screw these on. Now we're going to use our larger included Allen key to tighten this down the rest of the way. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes because sometimes it will want to slide around, but if you just hold it in place and tighten this down, you can mitigate that. And once this is on all the way, you can repeat that same process on the other side. And now you can move on to your second crossbar. Now when you're putting that one on, make sure you get your crossbar spread distance. So you're just going to measure from the front of this one to where you think the front of the next one is going to sit. And that's to accommodate whatever accessories you have. But otherwise than that, the process is going to be the exact same. That's just a look at the Malone CrossBed bed rack in our 2023 Ford F-150.